Okay, there have been some concerns about management practices. It said, how would the directors include the concerns about management practices that are voiced by a significant portion of the community? And let's start with Ms. Anderson. This is post-election.
I can't really speak to that question because I have no idea. It is my hope and belief that the recall will pass and we will immediately sign a letter of intent to renegotiate the contract with CAL FIRE and keep them right where they have been for the last several years, providing us with good service at a reasonable cost. So we're not in the business, the board's business is not running the fire department. That's not what the fire board is supposed to do. We're there to make sure the bills are paid and that the policy is written and adhered to. If we get involved in hiring the chief and hiring and firing the firemen, we end up right back where we are with $2 million in lawsuits that we have to pay off. Plus, we're still paying off all the old retired firefighters' pensions and their health care benefits. And this is going to happen again. Right now, we don't have that with CAL FIRE.
Thank you. Mr. Riddell.
Can I hear the question?
How would the directors include the concerns about management practices that are voiced by a significant portion of the community?
I'm not sure exactly what management practices they're speaking of, unless it's what had transpired in the past. And anybody that's lived here any length of time knows when I was on the Monterre board, that was a concern of mine also. And that was a lack of oversight by the board, which led to the issues that we had. It was, that type of stuff flows downhill, and it did. And the last thing I would want to see in this community is anything to do along those lines. I live here too. I lived here for over 50 years. But our job is to oversee and make sure that these things don't happen. Just like with CAL FIRE, that's what we're doing right now. These things are happening right now, and we're holding them accountable, and that's what you should be doing. Even in the contract, it says the district will establish and approve the type, range, and level of services provided within the district. That is our responsibility.
Thank you. Let's see. Mr. McIntosh, a question about management practices.
Well, you've heard some of the management practices already in the Fire Prevention Bureau of not providing people that are trained into positions. CAL FIRE's system seems to be to place somebody in a seat, put a hat on their head, and then said, go do your job. It takes a lot more than that to get somebody up to speed. Captains are trained by sitting in the back seat for a lot of years. ECs are trained by sitting in the captain's seat for a lot of years. The board is only responsible for the fire chief. It's not responsible for hiring anybody else. As far as debt, well, if we really think that trading off a $2 million worth of debt, local debt, which is already 25% financed, for the billions of dollars of state debt, then somebody needs to redo the math. Fact is that right now, sick leave buyouts, $250,000.
Thank you. And Mr. McCusick.
Well, okay, on the management practices, as I was walking in the district, like I said, I had a conversation with a fellow that told me what was going on in the 1999 era when it began that the Point Montero firefighters started working under the direction of the Half Bay Fire Department while the boards still remained separate. What they inadvertently learned at that time was how you seed a staff of firefighters with an event that causes a cancerous spike that destroys the department. And that's what they're doing now. They're looking for anything they can tell you about CAL FIRE to get them out of here. And they can't find anything because the guys are sticking to their business and ignoring the meddlesome interventions of this board of directors.
And finally, Mr. Alfano.
This is a big issue. At the end of the day, We have a fire chief that reports to the board. That's the person we interact with. It's the only person we're supposed to interact with. And that fire chief works here for 4 hours a month. 4 hours a month. That's basically one board meeting and 2 parades a year. That's unacceptable. That's your lead person that interacts with the board and takes direction from the board after we set policy. How do you run an organization when you're not there? It's absent. And to top that off, to save us money is what they said. We're going to take your assistant fire chief next in command, and we need him on the other side of the hill half-time. So we're going to move him over there. But you're going to save some money. Okay? We were mutually beneficial in trying to help. Then 2 fire marshals went down to halftime. So we have a situation here, we're getting less than what we had before. Taxpayers are paying for this level of service, we're now giving them this level of service. So it is an absent management style run organization. It's unacceptable. Go peek your head in there one day and see how long you can find a fire chief.
Thank you. Let's see, did I get everybody on that question? I think I did. All right.